he's known socially for everything he does except for football, which sucks to see as a player that loves the game. But what do you think happens now? Where does Antonio Brown go now?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Balls in Your Face podcast. I'm Christian Rivera.
It's your boy Josh Ramos.
I'm Zio Hernandez.
And today, man, we have a special episode. We're back and we better, as you know. Today, we're going to be talking about Antonio Brown. And if you do not know who Antonio Brown is, today you're going to find out. What y'all think about Antonio Brown real quick? What's your... What you think about him?
He's the sports equivalent of Kanye West. So
that's like perfect, man.
If you didn't know,
he does hang out with Kanye West, so it's fitting.
He does. He was doing like the Donda press conference. He was sitting courtside of a basketball game with Kanye West. So they are close, but things you see Kanye West do in the media, that's basically what Antonio Brown does in sports.
That's my thing. Is that the biggest thing you see about him now is everything outside of football. But when you go between the lines, he's one of the best receivers to play this game as well. And we're going to be going over that real quick. So I just want to cover his career, give a little overview on exactly who Antonio Brown was and who he is today. So if you did not know already, Antonio Brown was a round 6 pick in the NFL draft.
Well, I didn't know that.
He was picked in the round 6.
He was a late pick.
I think he was picked 199, if I'm not mistaken.
They knew something was wrong with him.
No, but so he came from a small college, and he got drafted to the Steelers. And obviously, the persona that Antonio Brown that is today, he wasn't back then. So that's why a lot of people think as time went on, as he became the diva, wide receivers are looked at as divas. So he's a prime example of that.
Why are they considered divas? Because they're like a quarterback dependent position, and when they don't get the ball they complain. Is it stuff like that?
It's stuff like that, because obviously they're like, you think about it, right? The skill positions on the offensive side of the ball. We got wide receivers, running backs, and running backs, pretty much.
Tight end.
Not everyone considers when they're receiving. But the point is that on the receiving end, you literally, the quarterback has to target you, give you the ball for you to do something. You can run routes, perfect routes all day, but if the ball's not thrown your way, you're not going to have any stats or anything to show for it. Running back, you kind of get a lot of more carries throughout the game. Obviously, the quarterback is making every throw, so they get the look at. But wide receivers, they're looked at as divas, and then you look at other wide receivers in itself, like Terrell Owens. He's a big character as a wide receiver. You look at today, Odell Beckham, big character as a wide receiver. So they just tend to be like that. And I think people like Terrell Owens set that example, and people want to imitate him, kind of. Like, they want to have that big character, big personality as a wide receiver, get paid the big bucks, and have those hands to be able to make that catch.
He had his own reality show too, so like
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
he
what was it?
I don't even know the name of it, but I know I've seen it before. Because
was it on MTV?
It had to be, or like
VH1,
something like that. Because the first time I heard of Terrell Owens, it wasn't even because of football. It was because I saw that he had a show, and I was like, oh, like, who's Terrell Owens? And like that fits like that diva, I guess, persona that you're talking about. Like, he was a Hall of Fame receiver on the field, but obviously he had that personality off the field, which is what first time I heard of T.O. was because of that.
So just to keep it on Antonio Brown real quick, though. So he did get drafted by the Steelers. He played with the Steelers for about 6 or 7 years, I believe. In the beginning, didn't start off fantastic, but he definitely made a name for himself. And throughout the years, he started to really show what he can do on the field. And he was no doubt, for sure, a top 5 receiver in the game, because he's not the tallest dude. He's not the fastest dude, but his route running was like impeccable. And you really didn't hear about him that much, though. Around that time, that's when they had the killer bees, which is Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger, and Antonio Brown. And they would always just make it to the playoffs, but they lost to the Patriots left and right and stuff like that. And then pretty much for me, on the outsider looking in, when it started to fall apart was when Le'Veon Bell was... Once Le'Veon Bell wanted his money and he got out of the Pittsburgh, that's when I started hearing stuff about Antonio Brown and the crazy things that he would do. So even like after, I don't know if it was after a regular game or a playoff game, he went on Facebook Live after the game when Mike Tomlin is giving a speech to his team. And it was actually the week prior to playing the Patriots, because Mike Tomlin was like, oh, we're going to go beat the Patriots ass or something like that. So he said comments like that. You going to say something?
No, just doing that, like, that's what bad look like.
Yeah,
your locker room sacred, and whatever your coach is talking about, like, your opponent, they can literally see. I don't know what exactly was said. He wasn't going over game plan or anything. I know he's trying to hype up the team, but like, anything that's said in that moment, you're putting out to the public. So you don't know if the other team could be watching that one, how they could use that to their advantage or whatever. So that's definitely, if I'm a teammate, like that's a lack of, I guess, respect for what's going on in the locker room and everything like that.
Because you know the saying, what goes on in the locker room stays in the locker room. And he literally put that on Facebook Live. He was more hype of winning the game because it was a playoff game. Yeah, it was a playoff game because he was going to play the Patriots next. But doing that, red flag. Red flag off the
So that wasn't out of spite or anything like that?
No,
it was just him being
that was
hype?
strictly him doing him. And it was a problem eventually, and they addressed it or whatever like that. And then the following season, which I believe was his last season as a Pittsburgh Steeler, there was a lot of things where Antonio Brown was showing up to practice late or doing whatever he wanted at practice. Or there was even a thing where the music that they were playing during the practice wasn't the music that he liked. So then they stopped playing music altogether. It was this big ordeal. So Antonio Brown was definitely he was showing like he was a top 5 receiver, but he was having top 5 receiver problems with him. Like, and me being a New York Giants fan, knowing Odell, he did a lot of stuff. And when it wasn't going his way, like you see it on the field and like on the sideline, his antics. And Antonio Brown antics were starting to pick up. But
like you said, no, like watching him in Pittsburgh, like he was shaping up to be one of like the best receivers, like number wise and everything like that. I think about, I don't know what year it was in Pittsburgh, but the one, like when I think of Antonio Brown, I think of one play. It was a punt return. He's going downfield and he like kicks a guy in the face. Like he plants him in the face and he just keeps going. And I'm like, yo, like that's a beast. Like he's going ham. So, I mean,
so then pretty much obviously making all those good catches and good stats, you want to get paid. And I think Pittsburgh wasn't willing to give him that big paycheck based off of everything else off the field. Because on the field, he was fantastic. His off the field antics. What ends up happening, he goes to the Raiders, signs this big, ginormous deal with the Raiders. And he doesn't even live to play it down for the Raiders at all. He didn't even play one down because what ends up happening, right? He gets there, they're doing training camp, blah, 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 preseason, all that stuff, right? So then it came into... He did the cryo chamber, which people, the NFL players, they did do that to speed up recovery for their muscles and stuff like that. Because obviously during football, taking a beating. So they do that for speeding recovery. He was in the cryo chamber for too long and his feet literally had like severe burns.
Like almost frostbite.
I remember this. It
was like pretty bad.
So that led to him not being on the field and practicing with them. So that was a whole deal in itself because it's like, how do you let something like that happen or how does that happen? But okay, whatever. Time rolls on. He's on the sideline. You see him on the sideline, this and that.
Why just his feet, though?
I don't know.
Was it only on his feet, the injuries?
You're supposed to use, like, obviously, like, proper gear for that because it's like...
And he did it?
That's what it was. That's what it was, yes.
And he didn't?
He went barefoot. He went barefoot in the chamber and then, obviously, he got, like, frostbite and he couldn't even
why didn't that happen to any the rest of his body?
All right, this is like an anatomy question. Like, I don't know why his hands didn't freeze. I mean, maybe you have hand wraps. I mean,
even just like his legs, like why didn't they freeze? If you know what I mean?
He was covered head to toe. No, he was covered head to ankle except his feet.
No way.
No.
That's the only thing I can think of.
But no. So then what happened after that, right? So once again, got to sign this ginormous deal with the Raiders. And I say he never plays it down because eventually, out of the blue, I'm talking about out of the blue, he's not going to play with the Raiders anymore. And it was like rumored, like who's he going to play with them? What's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. He ends up going to the Patriots. Ends up signing with the Patriots.
How did that happen?
So
he got traded?
I mean, so after the whole cryo chamber thing with the feet, there was another incident where the NFL was switching the helmets that they were going to use.
I remember that.
You see, there's so much layers to like that whole Antonio Brown thing. Like what happened? Like you could easily gloss over something like that.
Exactly.
I
forgot about that.
Didn't he say he didn't want to wear that kind of helmet?
He didn't want to wear a new helmet and like because it was obviously NFL was showing concerns like about CTA and they're trying to make more padding.
He's like, I already got it.
He was saying that he didn't want to do it. And like you have people like Tom Brady who was saying like he didn't like the rule, but like he's gonna obviously abide to it. Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, how bad could the helmet have been? My goodness.
So Antonio Brown was basically saying he wasn't going to wear that helmet, and that became its own story in its own. That's like, all right, you have other people that not necessarily don't like it, but like they're still going to do it. And then he was saying that he didn't want to do it at all, so that became its own story in its own.
Yeah, the main reason that it comes up is because people sometimes they like the comfort of that helmet, or they like the specific fit for their head. Because think about it, they're making a helmet like that's like pretty much like one size fits all, as in this helmet is for all different types of players, but maybe his head is a little skinnier than this guy's head, so he likes the lighter feel of this helmet, stuff like that. So that's what came into it, and they were like banning that specific helmet that he was using. Like if you look it up, like he kind of has like one of the, it's a very like it gets memed about like a bowl helmet, like a bowling ball helmet, and he had one of those round helmets, like the shut helmets. So yeah, like you said, that transpired, and then that led to a disagreement because obviously he wasn't gonna be able to play without that, and then he slid to the Patriots.
Even before that though, he had the whole incident where he taped John Gruden, and that became a whole thing in the media because in California, because they're in Oakland before, because they're in Las Vegas, they were Oakland Raiders still. California law, you can't put a videotape recording of someone's audio of someone's audio without them knowing. So he was coming out, I guess, with because the media was like bashing Antonio Brown for all the instances going on. He came out with his own video, I guess, in defense of himself.
Yeah.
And he posted the video. It was a conversation, him and John Gruden saying like, look, like, I know like what's going on with all this stuff. Like, we want you on the team. Like, we want you to play. And he's like, I know, coach, like I'm trying, but like, it was just a whole video like that. And that became like probably like one of the biggest things that probably led to him getting cut, which one, I mean, we talked about the whole thing, like invasion of privacy when he recorded the locker room. I mean, you just put a whole private conversation out on social media and I guess in a way trying to make yourself look good, and it literally backfired.
Yeah.
Or it made everything look bad.
Like you said, he made that same video showing it's literally him on the phone with John Gruden. You hear John Gruden on speaker or whatever. He even drops his own video after it finds out that he's signing with the Patriots. And he jumps on the phone with, I think he jumps on the phone with Robert Kraft or something. And he's like, we're going to New England. And he gets out, he's running, jumping, because obviously Tom Brady at the time, going to championships, winning championships. Did they win the championship the previous year? I think they did. I think they won the championship the previous year against the Rams.
Yeah, I think so.
So because this is Tom Brady's last year in New England, and he's happy. Whatever, I'm going to New England. Goes to New England, plays 4 games for them, and he actually put up decent stats in 4 games. He plays 4 games with them.
Nah, his first game he played, I believe it was against the Dolphins. I remember he caught a touchdown that game, but you could tell Brady was trying to target him, trying to get him. And he's from the Dolphins, and he's from Miami, and it was in Miami, so like it was that whole dynamic.
He also had
where he's from.
He had an incentive to reach on his contract, so that was something too. So why does he only play 4 games though? Because then it comes off the field. I think he had some charges with, I don't know if it was his ex-wife or
it was. I believe that instance, it was a sexual assault case that came up.
That did come up.
His masseuse that basically forced himself upon her, and that led to the Patriots end up releasing him. He was already
this dude is something.
He was on thin ice. He was on thin ice, and he ended up getting released. But the crazy part is Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, he had his own allegations that came out in the media that he
dang Patriots, them dang Patriots,
something at a masseuse,
whatever it takes to win.
No.
And Antonio Brown like publicly started criticizing him, calling him a hypocrite, saying like, I mean, it wasn't a similar situation, but it was another like sexual assault thing. He was calling Robert Kraft a hypocrite for like cutting him, and he's having, I guess, quote unquote, the same thing going on. So then that was a whole deal.
He's like, we have the same masseuse.
All this is within a span of years. Like this isn't like we're saying it back to back to back to back, and like you see the pattern looking back on it now, but this was like over a span of a very long time.
No, but this itself is happening in the moment. Like the Raiders to the Patriots and getting cut by the Patriots. This is all like in a sequence of weeks, bro. Like it was crazy. So then the rest of that year, he didn't play. He didn't even play for a team. So that year, stopped playing, whatever, had to handle some stuff off the field. What happens the following season? Where is Antonio Brown going to go? Blah, 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 blah. He was actually suspended by the league, so he wasn't going to be able to play even if he was on the team, which he wasn't. Everything gets cleared up, or not everything, but most of it gets cleared up. Who signs him? Brady went to Tampa, picks up Antonio Brown. It was like midway through the season, picks him up. And he wasn't even done from his suspension, but it was like, oh, whenever he's done from his suspension, he's going to play for the Bucs. As you know already, they went on to win the Super Bowl. Nothing serious came out about Antonio Brown around that time. The main question was that, hey, you just won the Super Bowl. You got people to re-sign. Is Antonio Brown going back to Tampa?
It was too good to be true. You heard nothing about him. And even thinking back, like when they signed him, he was more of a luxury to add to the Kings. They already had Mike Evans. They had Chris Godwin. And I mean, they added him to that mix. And the Super Bowl, he got a touchdown and everything. So it was like the icing to the cake and everything. But like you said, that whole offseason, it kind of felt like everything was too good to be true because you didn't hear anything crazy that was going on with him.
He was kind of in check because of Brady, I guess. That
was what they were saying. And even it got to a point where Antonio Brown was living with Tom Brady for a little while.
My God.
In the beginning.
How? He brought him into his house. Like that's how bad Brady wanted him. Like he told him, hey,
But
like,
bro, he didn't have money for his own health.
No, but I think that was a way to keep him in check, like you said. Like, make sure he's
Oh.
doing all the right things.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff
kind of
like that.
crazy.
When you think about it, they got a championship out of it. But fast forward to the following season, which was this past season. Antonio Brown re-signs with them on a it's not a minimum deal, but he was able to have some incentives that would give him more money.
it was very incentive based. Like, he obviously certain amount of catches, yards, touchdowns, stuff like that. The more you get, the more money you're gonna get on your contract.
So just fast forwarding, right? So he got hurt a couple of times, been out of the games a couple of times. What does he end up doing? Fast forward to a game in New York, playing the New York Jets.
No, hold up. Even before that, we didn't even talk about the vaccination card.
Oh,
Oh
my
my
God.
God.
If you guys can't tell, you see how layered this thing is. It's crazy. Like you think it's one problem, but it's the other, and it's another. So yes,
So
actually, the weeks. Go ahead, take it off.
nah, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the NFL, they didn't put a vaccine mandate, but it was very. The NFL wanted their teams to have their players vaccinated. It wasn't a requirement. It's not like if you weren't vaccinated, you couldn't play. It was just certain rules around the building, like masks, just different stuff like that. And Tampa came out and said that they were the first team that had 100% vaccination, that everyone was vaccinated on their team.
Cap.
So then,
99.9.
so look,
Cap.
moral of the story: pay your people. So a chef that Antonio Brown had, something happened. They had a situation that Antonio Brown didn't want to pay him. I think it was less than $5,000.
Bro, why do the richest people be doing this?
That-
real,
and
bro.
Antonio
Like I just been not to get off topic, but I've been watching like Tommy and Lee Pam and Tommy. It's about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, and they didn't want to pay the dude to finish like doing renovations in their house, so the dude stole their tape and all that stuff.
I guess it's they have so much money and then they get a service and I guess they don't
they're
value the
tripping,
service.
bro.
And speaking on that, he had another incident like a long time ago where he didn't pay the moving company that came and moved some stuff
It's
from
the
his house.
richest people,
And
bro.
so similar situation, he didn't pay the chef, and basically what the chef did was blackmail him. And in that situation, like, you need to know like who you have around you. So he had that chef that he had nothing to do with the vaccine thing. He's witnessing Antonio Brown like call, like asking if he could get a fake vaccine card. He ends up calling, gets a fake vaccine card, so he gets it, right? And the chef,
It shouldn't be that hard to get a fake vaccine.
the chef had no more.
You know somebody at CVS. Yeah, you want.
Literally. So and obviously that whole fallout happened with the chef. So the chef came out and like basically leaked it that he had a fake vaccine card. So the NFL starts investigating all this and then they're looking into it. So what happened was Antonio Brown bought the fake vaccine card. So he did buy it. He found out after that it's punishable up to 7 years in prison for falsifying a fake document. So he ends up getting actually vaccinated. So he bought a fake one, got scared that he could go to prison. So then he actually went and got vaccinated. So at the time of this whole story coming out, he technically did have the vaccine. It was just the fact that he lied originally, and
So he still got in trouble for that?
he got suspended for
He
that.
got suspended. But guess
The chefs told somebody?
The chef told, and then the NFL started investigating, and then
guess how long he got suspended for though?
It was like what, 3 games? Like it wasn't anything.
A whopping 3 games
Yeah.
for something that you can go to jail for 7 years. He only got suspended 3 games, and not to let alone for the fact the Bucs got to check themselves because there was actually another player on their team that actually had another fake vaccination card. It was a safety. So it definitely was just all around, bro.
So yeah, the first team that
I
claimed
forgot about
100,
that.
yeah.
So
I mean, to
obviously-
rely on a little card that you can get, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's a
They're
little piece
tripping.
of paper, but very powerful.
So the rumors were like, hey, are they going to cut him? Are they going to keep him? They're going to cut him. They're going to keep him. Because obviously this is a big problem and this is a big stance on, hey, you got someone in the building that was faking getting vaccinated. Meanwhile, you got people like Aaron Rodgers getting scrutinized for not getting vaccinated, but acting as if, whatever. That's a whole situation in itself.
makes it
but my
worse is
point
that-
is that Aaron Rodgers didn't go out and get a fake vaccination card. And he got suspended for a game for... it was because he was walking around with no mask and as if he was vaccinated, but he wasn't.
What makes it worse is that, like I said, it wasn't a requirement. Like the NFL didn't say you need to have the vaccine to play. It was just more of a team safety thing. And he just went ahead and did it because I guess he didn't want to abide to like wearing the mask in the building, social distancing, like different stuff like that you had to do if you weren't vaccinated. So he just thought, let me just buy a fake one and say I'm vaccinated. And then
How much do you think he paid for it?
Who?
Antonio Brown for the fake
I
vaccine?
feel like not that much.
he got it for free. He didn't want to pay.
He could have paid his chef.
He doesn't pay other services. I mean, he
I
probably
think less
got
than
a plug.
500. Less than 500.
I
Gotta
don't
be.
know, but fast forwarding as well. After that, once again, we pull up New York game against the Jets. Bucks are getting smacked by the Jets at this point.
The
They're
Jets.
down. They're down pretty bad.
To the Jets.
And story, not even gonna explain the story. You're watching the game, all of a sudden you see Antonio Brown taking off his pads, taking off the jersey, taking off some gloves, throwing it in the stands, and he just runs off the field doing this, hyping up the crowd,
Jumping
all this
jacks
stuff, runs right into the locker room. And it's like, what the heck just happened, bro? Like, what just happened? That definitely took over the NFL at that point. I think it was like two games heading into the playoffs, or a couple of games heading into the playoffs.
It was very close.
So not too much games left. What ends up happening, comes out that apparently the coach was trying to get him on the field to go ahead and do some plays, and he was saying, hey, my ankle's still jacked up because he was missing some games because of some injuries. My ankle's still jacked up. I can't go, blah, blah, blah. He was saying, then get the F out of here. So what does he do?
Gets the F out of there.
Gets the F out of here.
Literally.
And yeah, bro, like there's so many memes of him showing this and that and the third. A day later or 2 days later, he ends up getting cut from the team, which we all expected. I don't know what took so long. Like he could have got cut the moment he walked out.
You see, and that was for Tampa. That was a big decision to even do that, because we talked about the year before. He was a luxury to have to the team, because they had all these receivers. Chris Godwin tore his ACL, so their number 2 receiver, or arguably one of Brady's favorite targets, he got out. And then Antonio Brown's in this position where he's more of a necessity. And then for them to end up making that decision where one thing after another, enough was enough, where they ended up cutting him. That's already like, bro, that's so many teams that just thought like it's not worth the talent.
It's not worth it at all.
Extremely crazy. What ends up happening, the Bucks go on and they lose in the divisional round to the Rams. Antonio Brown is like happy about that. He even like posted a video like smiling or whatever. He was kind of more hyped for the other team, but he was saying like obviously they couldn't win without him. So now here we are. We stand today. Still not signed to a team. We're in the offseason, of course.
He was at the Super Bowl with Kanye.
Was at the Super Bowl. He made a pop out. He even, I think the very same night or the next night, he went to a Nets game. Sitting courtside.
He was everywhere, man.
He's currently a rapper right now.
Oh yeah. Let alone that. So definitely like the outside antics. Definitely the antics that he was showing from, once again, go to the beginning. The Steelers, he was doing so well, playing well, and you don't hear a peep. And all of a sudden, towards the end of it, it just turned into this big thing. And now he's known socially for everything he does except for football, which sucks to see as a player that loves the game. But what do you think happens now? Where does Antonio Brown go now?
You know, we're talking about all these instances where he's been cut and teams, I guess, decided that he's not worth it. He's going to get another shot. And that's just always how it goes, because there's always going to be, there's ego that gets in the way. And there's going to be that one team that's like, yeah, he didn't work out over there, but that wasn't under our watch. If we get him in our building, get him in our system. And I know you're shaking your head.
Yeah.
But all the other teams have
But if Bill Belichick couldn't do it,
I agree.
No one can do it.
I agree. But then you have a team, I guess the rumor team is the Ravens, and you see he has a connection with, Hollywood Brown, his cousin's a receiver on the team, and then his relation with Lamar Jackson, saying that he loves how Lamar Jackson plays, he would love to play with him. So just different stuff like that. Like you can see, I guess, that seed being planted.
And then he just walks out of the game and that's you.
I promise you can look back on this. I promise you he's gonna sign with the Ravens.
By when?
By next season, he's gonna be on the team. I promise.
But in my opinion, I think he's done. And based off the fact that, okay, like, yes, we were able to see him. We've seen what he did when he went to the Raiders. Got a big deal. Couldn't even keep his mouth shut. It was even to the point where the Raiders, that if he stayed a couple more days, he was going to hit a signing bonus or something like that. And
it
he
was
didn't.
The next day.
And he didn't. So he avoided that and missed out on a whole bunch of money. So be that. Goes to the Patriots. Goes to the Patriots. He's on an extremely short leash and then has to get cut because of some situations. And on the Bucks, he was giving a long leash, as they were saying that he's on a short leash. But bro, this player that is known to have issues, does this, that, and the third. They still kept on to him until the moment that he walks off the field, literally takes himself off the field, and it's like, yeah, we got to cut him now. I think he's done. And when you look at the Ravens, they're very, like, I'm not going to say like they're the most sought out historical franchise, but they're a well-run organization, and I don't think they're going to put up with that, regardless of what Lamar Jackson has to do with that, or even Hollywood Brown is his cousin. All that stuff, all that aside, I don't think the Ravens would make that move, and I think he's done, personally. He definitely has the tools to play right now, but it's just he's too much of a distraction, bro. Too much.
Like you said, he has the tools. He's been one of the best route runners. You look at the last catch that he caught that same Jets game where he got out. It was a beautiful route. He did it in and out, and the guy turned around and fell, and he just had a wide open catch. And that's, I guess for now, if he doesn't get another job, that's his last catch in the NFL. And it's like, you see the talent is still there. It's undeniable. And I know he's getting up there in age, but his route running still so crisp that any team could literally use that.
Do you think he wants to still play though? I have a feeling he doesn't even want to play.
When they talk about it, he says he does because he loves the game. That's his claim.
Yeah,
He loves the game. But
if you really love the game, you put all that aside and play the damn game. You're not gonna be walking out of the field like that.
with that being said, what do you think?
I don't think even if a team offers him a deal, I don't think he's taking it. I don't think he wants to play anymore.
Yeah, man.
Even that I don't think a team would offer. But even if they did, he's not playing anymore. He's done. He doesn't want to play anymore. He wants to be whatever he wants to be. He wants to do whatever he wants to do.
He's
that type of person is just gonna live their life what they want to, and you can see it. He's already burned a bridge with 4 teams. I mean,
bro, in a span of 3 years, bro, it's
burned his bridges so he can't go back,
bro. What does he go by now? There's like a specific word for him. I don't know if it's big money. No,
I mean, he has a song where it's like a whole lot of money.
no. But he is. Business is booming.
Yeah.
That's what he goes by. Business is booming.
Yeah, he got
That's
Fashion Nova deals and stuff.
exactly stuff like that. So I think
he's doing good for himself.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you got to go crazy, and that's how you get big.
But once
Look
again,
at Kanye.
I think it's gonna be one of the big what ifs. Like, what if he didn't have these antics? I promise you, bro, he could be top 10 in all wide receivers. Like, I'm talking about his stats
All
are
time?
undeniable. Yes,
Yeah,
I think personally.
maybe even higher than that. Who knows?
Because
Like,
if he continued to play and played at the rate that he was, bro, I'm talking about he was putting top 3 stats in the league. And once again, he's not the biggest dude, not the fastest dude. He was just a hard worker, good at his craft. And bro, nobody's guarding him. Like, nobody was guarding him. I promise you. Because when you look at it, the number 1, 2, and 3 was like Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins. I feel like I'm missing one.
I mean, AB was up there. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, Julio Jones and him were probably, I guess, for the past decade, you would say they're probably number 1 and number 2 receiver, and it's a debate. I mean, what do you want? Like, who are you taking? Like, and it's a debate, and AB was up there.
Which this might be something we have to touch on, but I think that Madden curse got to him, bro. He was on the cover of Madden, and then after that,
That's probably
bro,
the worst
everything
it's ever
went down,
gotten.
bro. Everything went down. So yeah, man, that was definitely crazy. Y'all got anything else on this, or?
Like I said, I'm calling it right now. When it happens, we're going to look back at this moment. He will sign with the Ravens. He will be on their team next year.
I think he's done, man. I think he's done. What you think?
I think he's done. I don't think he wants to play anymore. And even if they give him a deal, he's gonna turn it down, and that's gonna be another story in itself. People are gonna be like, "Bro, you turned down a deal? Like, that was your last shot." And I think after that, no one else is gonna.
I think as long as business is booming, bro, he'll be all right. Yeah. He'll be doing his own thing.
He'll be
That's
fine,
it, bro. But that's all we got for today, man. Go ahead and comment up and let us know what you think about the topic and the story itself. Let us know what you think Antonio Brown's going to do. Is he going to be assigned on the team or is he not? Feel free to let us know. Make sure you're liking the video and subscribing to us as well. The Balls in Your Face podcast on YouTube, the Balls in Your Face the podcast on Instagram, BIYF the podcast on Twitter, and Balls in Your Face podcast on TikTok.
Drop any comments, give us any suggestions,
hit us a like,
anything you guys want to hear, and we'll see what we can do.
Make sure you follow us on those socials, man. And with that being said, it's your boy Josh Ramos.
I'm Azir Hernandez.
Christian Rivera. Bye.
Thank you.